Hi. Trying to do another video here. Sometimes I just do the tarot and I show it, but today, when I was drawing my cards yesterday, I was like, it really reminded me of this personal story, and I wanted to just kind of connect that with the card. So today I'm going to do the Two of Cups here. And that's from the Rider-Waite deck. And, obviously you can look this up and see a better picture of it. But, the Two of Cups is basically the minor arcana version of the Lovers. Two is obviously the duality aspects. I mean, it's like my name, demonic angel, life and death. They're not these fighting opposites. They are two different sides to the same thing that is happening, or the same energy, but you can't have one without the other. So the lion's head, he kind of represents the potential for romance and sexuality and this sexual tension that's sort of between these two here, and that could be part of their relationship at a later time, because this isn't the Lover's card, obviously. Now the wings on it, it has to do with, we've got fire and air in this card, and air is because part of their attraction is their intellection. That is what they share, is the ability to critically think for themselves. And, probably have both felt like the loners in their lives for a period of time. But then when they meet, it's like fire and air. And what does air do? It feeds the fire, right? And the wind, and fire is purifying. And that's what these two people coming together. So I always throw in a quote here, maybe like with Jung, he said, it's like with chemicals, when two people meet, and there's just this chemical, both people are transformed, chemically and otherwise, spiritually. And we've got the caduceus here. Now that's very similar to lots of things, as well as, the intertwined snakes. I like hieroglyphs, so Hecate, one of my patron goddesses from ancient Egypt, she does, her hieroglyph has this sort of knot ties, and this represents karma. So these two people meeting, this has to do with karma. They've met before in other lives, in other dimensions, in other ways. Maybe they've even met before in this life, and they've never really had what they were going to be come to fruition. But there's this karma, this longing. This is like, when you meet this person, this is the other side of your soul kind of a feeling. And of course we've got the cups. Now in the background, the sky is blue, and we've got, the little houses over here. If he convinces a woman wants, they could probably live together, have children, whatever, but they can cohabitate, and that would be a harmonious situation because of their karma. And this is a different relationship than, for both of these people, than the run-of-the-mill relationships that they both have had that probably have been unfulfilling. So the woman, she's got a wreath, okay? And that, and her robes with the blue on it, she's pure, and the wreath is kind of like the idea of hearth and home. There's that element to her of being tied to she's a domestic feminine. She is feminine, okay? I mean, of course she's a woman, but she is this domestic figure that is the divine feminine incarnate. Okay, so she's Eve and this is Adam, right? And of course, Eve and woman come to this plane of existence because we know that in order to take what is astral and the other levels of existence, it's got to be physical. We need to be here. And man follows woman in this sense, okay? Now, he also, he kind of, let's say he chases woman. I'm not like trying to get into a debate about, like, you have to be a feminine woman to be, like, straight or something, or that this is tied to any kind of abuse. It's not. I'm just talking about the kind of, almost like the archetypal figures of man and woman. And so he is, he's dressed really snazzy, right, to impress, and he's really cute, They're both good-looking people, they're both young. So they're going to bring that to the table together. So the difference between the Two of Cups and the Lovers is that with the Two of Cups, so the Lovers is these people, a primary kind of focus is that this is a sexual relationship. With the Two of Cups, which I actually really, really love this card. It's like one of my top 5 favorite cards. They are not primarily sexual, okay? So it's not like you meet somebody and then you're going to have sex and wow, it's great and I'm infatuated in feelings. That's not this card. This is, these two people meet and there is this longing, and it would almost be like spells and witchcraft feelings, energy. Like, you are the other part of my soul, because in this person you see their anima or animus, okay? And this person is the other side of you. It's the other side of your mind. You might have very similar thoughts and ways of thinking, but, this is the woman. Now, obviously, if it's upright, these are two people who stand alone. That would be pretty much what I would like to say. She knows who she is, and he knows who he is, and she can be masculine and dominant and take care of, she can be in the world, okay? And she knows about her dark side, or her, this other side of her that is not dominant. He knows about his emotional side. They have traveled, they have been in other relationships, and so they know what they both are through the experience of life, through consuming these other emotional cups and experiences. They are coming together. So if it's reversed, this is two people who are really coming together, and then it's sexual, but there's they're not one of the partners or both is not very clear about who they are. So that really puts a damper on this relationship, that even though it has karmic ties and it's supposed to be, you can't love somebody unless you love yourself. You can't know somebody unless you know yourself, right? And those timeless lessons. Now, so here's my personal story, is that I still dream about this encounter I had with this guy, and obviously it's very significant to my mind. And I'll do some videos on my problems when I feel that time is ready, that I've struggled with. I'm a pretty healthy person today. When I was an alcoholic, I would go to the cemetery. There was one that was close to where I had lived at the time. And I walked there one day, and I was like, I was in I was dressed like a goth. Sometimes I dress like a hippie or a goth. Never know whatever. And I had like these black tights on and my goth kind of look going on. But I hadn't probably showered in like a day, and I had some mascara running all over my face, and I brought, a big jug of whatever Polar Pop from the gas station, and I was drinking. And I went there, and I started walking around, and I just started like crying. And I just was like feeling so lost and I needed to feel that emotional release, and I feel very comfortable in most cemeteries. Like almost like the dead are my friends or understand me more than, the living. I'm sure some of you can relate. But this guy, he comes around from like nowhere, probably this tree, because there was big trees, and he scared the shit out of me, and I'm like, oh my God, and I start worried about what I look like. And then we start talking, and he never like asked me what was wrong with me, and I've never seen this man again, okay? And he never said, like, what do you specifically do? And he never talked about how I smelled like booze. He was just like, we started talking about philosophy, and I said, hey, I really don't know anybody personally here at the cemetery. It's just kind of, I feel comfortable, and I said to him, I feel more comfortable in some ways. Like, I don't know what it is, if they're imaginary or not, but I feel like the dead are more of my friends, and I have these paranormal experiences, but I'm also kind of looking at magic, and I'm also struggling in other ways with depression, and because I had been sexually abused when I was younger, and I just kind of like told this guy this stuff, right? And he would just input stuff like, hey, yeah, I like Aleister Crowley and Thelema. That's what I was able to get from it. But I don't really think that, ghosts are real. And I was like really listening. And then I said, well, it's kind of like, I said something like, when you're really hungry and you want a cheeseburger or whatever, you imagine that in your mind. Or you get hungry, you imagine what food you're going to want to eat before you eat it. So that's what the astral plane really is. And it's that thought. It's not just the paranormal, it's these mundane things, and then you bring it into this plane of existence. And he was like, that's really interesting, and I don't think I'll be able to look at things that same, that really changes some things I've thought about what the astral plane is supposed to be. I just thought that it's, made up, but you're right about how the mind works in these ways that it kind of comes back down. And then he said to me after, I probably talked to him for like an hour and a half. The sun had started to set, and I did eventually walk back, probably puke and pass out. And he was like, you know what you are? You're really Faust. And I hope that along the way, with Mephistopheles by your side, because I think that there's something special about you. I hope that this doesn't end in tragedy, because it doesn't have to. You have a beautiful gift, and you're a beautiful person. And I hope you know that. And he walked away. And he walked away. And I, of course I'm drunk, and I was like blown away by it. I never saw this man again. Now, why I mentioned him with the Two of Cups, he was attractive. He had this sort of goth look to him, and he seemed very caring. He got in my personal space a little bit, but it was like this medicine for me. And over the years, I don't drink. I am very healthy compared to, the problems that I've had in my 20s. And I thought about that when I was getting better. And I was supposed to meet that gentleman, and he's, you know, I probably will never meet him again in this life, but he changed my life in one alchemical moment, okay? And I think I changed his. He thinks about me somewhere out there too. This isn't sexual. This is the essence of this Two of Cups card. And I hope that you guys maybe got something from my story a little bit, or you like that aspect. I won't always do stories with the cards, but and I could talk about some of these more serious subjects a little bit later, with the pertaining to the occult. I just think that they should be talked about, so I could talk about my struggle somewhat. But I'm not going to just do a depressing channel. I could do plenty of funny stories like I did before. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.